and gave her the information.
All right.
Yeah, that you were shutting the first link down.
Okay.
And wait for the invite, and just be on shortly.
Okay.
I just left G on the other hangout.
Okay.
And she's going to come on this hangout with the email she just got. So she should be here.
Okay. Okay, and this one is looking totally different. The links that I was telling you, hi G.
Hey.
We're missing. They're here. The go live button is here, and in fact, we are live. I don't see anybody watching on YouTube at this point, but I like to go ahead and open up just in case.
Okay.
So we can still chit chat for a few minutes, but just be aware that we are live.
Okay.
Well, I see the live icon up top on my screen. So
over there.
Yeah.
Excuse me for a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. So Georgette, Randie said she's probably not going to get here until about 6:45.
Okay. Well, as long as she gets here, that's what counts.
Yeah. I haven't really heard from anyone else.
Okay.
I know Joel is not coming tonight, right?
No, his friend of 33 years had a stroke at the base of his brain, so he's kind of navigating that right now. So.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, that's all right. That's serious business right there.
Oh, absolutely. He said there were 14 doctors in the man's hospital room, and they said only 1% survived that kind of a stroke.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Yeah, he can only move his eyes. Everything below his chin is non-functional.
Wow.
Which is, so horrible. He's such a nice, quiet guy. He and Joe were in the Air Force together. They started out stationed at the same base, and they stayed close all these years. So he's really kind of torn up. He did ask that you guys send your prayers and good wishes and good vibes to try to do the man's family. His name is Ricky Jameson. So,
Ricky Jameson. All right. We will do that. Labeeb, you're our religious person.
Oh, okay.
We're all religious. Don't even try that. But we do send our blessings and our hopes that all is well with him and with his family, with his friends. This is tough news. But in life, we have these kind of things that happen, and we just want to remain strong in our faith, in the wisdom of the Creator, that all things that He does has a purpose, and that we find an understanding in that purpose. That's it.
Right.
Amen. Ashe.
All right. I appreciate that, and I'm sure wherever Joel is and Ricky are, they appreciate that too. I'm sure they felt that.
Very good. Very good.
We do have one viewer now, it looks like, so let me just say we are in our regular chit-chat phase that goes on until about 6:45, and and then we'll open up the meeting. I did want to say to the people in the Hangout, I want to ask you what you think we should do if we really start to fill up with people. I was telling Labeeb earlier that we almost had a full house last week, and so I'm thinking that either we need to come into the Hangout earlier so that we can be ready to start exactly at 6:30, or we need to plan to go a little bit longer, just so that everybody can have a good chance to express themselves, not biblical links talking like some of us like to do, Labeeb, or Michelle.
And don't G-Star.
That's all right. That's all right.
But, we're probably really going to get up to 10 people with this session, I would imagine. So I think either we need to start the meeting precisely at 6:30, or maybe we need to extend it to 8:15 or 8:30, something like that.
Well, if you limit, whomever is the moderator or timekeeper, kind of limit the comments to a minute or two, then should be able to get through in a normal period of time, while allowing as many people as possible to contribute to the discussion.
Yeah.
And the idea of coming on a little earlier, a little earlier is a good idea as well, so that when the red dot shows up, we can just go ahead.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Venita or Georgette?
Sounds good to me. You think that's possible, Labeeb?
It may be possible. I mean, I don't want to get thrown under the bus again, but I know my schedule is tight, but
All right.
A little prep is always good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then the other factor may be there's a woman, one of my Facebook friends, who has been doing a national teleconference the last few years. She stopped recently, but she was doing it around menopause issues. And now she is working with authors to help get them publicity. And so she asked me, whether or not we would like to have some of the authors come on as guest moderators, either to talk about their own book or to facilitate a chapter of whatever it is we're reading. So I told her, that would be great. We're open to that, long as they're not big-headed. So that may happen, and so I have to try to figure out how to get them in to the hangout, smoothly. But it would also be taking up another space. So, I just, I'm just saying I've kind of been trying to think about how we can get everybody in, as smoothly as possible.
Mm-hmm. And expand the program, and extend the length of time overall. That this kind of program and this kind of discussion is open to as many people as possible. Yeah. So anyway, we've been thinking about it. So I have 6:41. I guess give Randie a couple of more minutes. Of course, several people RSVP'd yes, as usual. Did you send Randie the new invite so she doesn't come onto the old one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, if she has a problem, she'll call me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've got 6:42. You guys want to go ahead and get started?
Okay.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay. Georgette, the camera's on you.
Okay. Well, tonight we will be. Okay, now my brain just went blank. Tonight we'll be discussing Chapter 2, Childhood, and Chapter 3, When Life Descends into the Pit, of our book, We Are the Ones We Have Been Waiting For, Inner Light in a Time of Darkness, Meditations, by Alice Walker. Can I get a volunteer to read Chapter 2, key points?
Yeah, let's do our introductions.
Oh, oh boy, look, I'm messing everything up. Yeah. Michelle, you're supposed to start.
You wrote the agenda.
Yeah. Well, I did, didn't I? Okay, here we go. My name is Georgette Moses. I'm watching I'm not watching, I'm participating here from Columbia, South Carolina. And I'll be moderating tonight, and I'm enjoying this experience as usual.
Great.
Labeeb.
I am Labeeb. I'm tuning in from New York, Long Island. Again, I'm finally back, and I'm happy to be back to participate in tonight's discussion.
Okay. Venita?
My name is Venita Walker. I've been a member of the book group since session 1, which was very stimulating. And I look forward to session 2. I'm actually chiming in from Connecticut, in case anybody's interested. Okay,
all right. And last but not least, Michelle.
Hello, everybody. I am Michelle Odom, and I am joining you from New York. I'm in Manhattan today, in the Big Apple.
All right. Good. Okay. So as I said before, we'll be discussing the chapter highlights of Chapter 2, Childhood, and Chapter 3, When Life Descends into the Pit. And if I can get a volunteer to read the 1 through 5 of the first key points for Chapter 2.
All right, I'll volunteer.
All right, thank you, Venita.
Chapter 2, The Best of Times. Miss Walker has a passion for gardening. At her country home, she grows everything from corn to kale, figs, peaches, and several varieties of potatoes. She shows her enthusiastic daughter that harvesting a potato can be just like finding gold. It reminds her of the joy and wonder she experienced as a small child when her parents introduced her to the magic of nature by way of farming and gardening. I can't see, excuse me. This is one of her best of times, remembered through the eyes of a 3-year-old. Her father playfully told her that eating a watermelon seed would cause it to grow inside her stomach. She could see that planting the glossy black seed in the ground reaped a field full of gigantic, delicious watermelons. It was all too wonderful for words and too incredible to believe. She considered it the best of all possible worlds, despite the hardships of her tenant farming in the South for a family of color, and her country upbringing would inspire many poems and essays. Using the same childhood wonder, Miss Walker displaces despair and overcomes the many difficulties and hardships she has experienced. Her secret? Despair cannot share the same space as wonder, and she has that in abundance. The magic of nature encouraged her understanding of the environment and her activism. She encourages us to share that wonderment and understanding with our children, be they young or old. by really taking a good look at the world around us. The incredible probabilities, miracles, plums, watermelons, tulips, turnips that are on our planet, the radiant of blue orb, exceedingly ordinarily, though obviously divine.
Hello?
Okay.
A.
Would you read? Yeah, the first question.
Okay. Question number 1. Is there some truth you learned as a child that holds you together today while the world seems to fall apart? Someone like to address that?
I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't want Michelle to throw me under the bus though, but
well, that's okay. I think you
being
have
talkative. But I would say of course, you know, Miss Walker points out the necessity of remaining close to Mother Earth, to be aware and cognizant of the world around you, the world beneath your feet, and the world above your head, and to, in a sense, contemplate and marvel, you know, at this great creation that we are a part of. Hi, Randie.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay. I'll say this, that when I was I think about 18 years old and a freshman in college, I was having a little difficulty with my then girlfriend, and so I went for a walk, and I found that oftentimes if I needed to clear my head, I would take a walk. So as I was on this walk, this idea came to me that and it helped me to get over, you know, the difficulty, and that was that there's nothing in life that's guaranteed, not even life itself. So what you want to do is take each day, each moment, and treat it as precious, treat it as an opportunity to learn something that will help you to continue to move forward. And I haven't forgotten that to this day. So I concur with the author that we must stay grounded and stay mindful and appreciative of the world around us, Mother Earth. I try to keep it as brief as possible, Michelle. Yeah.
Very nice. First of all, Georgette, I love these notes. I love these questions. Thank you. When I saw that question, we're on the first question. Is that right?
Yeah, the first one.
When I saw that question, it took me back to so many things. And one of the things it took me back to is sort of a segue, I guess, from Labeeb's comment. It took me back to the lesson that jealousy kills. And I guess I got that message from a number of experiences. And one of them was my teenage boyfriend trying to choke the life out of me.
Oh, goodness.
Oh.
You started early, huh?
Goodness.
Yeah, because he was jealous and he couldn't control me, and to this day no one can control me. But that doesn't mean I need to be killed.
Right. That's right.
I can control me.
That's right.
So. So that was one message around jealousy. But I also experienced it, being a preacher's kid of fairly well-off parents, and the jealousy that I experienced from people around me. I don't know if it's this chapter, because of course I've kind of skipped ahead in the book, but I know somewhere Walker talks about it being a world of abundance, and that always seemed to be the case to me, both both in terms of abundance in things that are good and abundance in things that are not so good. And so, for example, you know, I think we have more than enough problems. And there more than enough problems that everybody ought to be able to find something productive and challenging and meaningful and helpful and, you know, to do with their lives. And so there's really no need to be looking at another person and feeling like, you know, being jealous of whatever it is they're doing, when, you know, you have the opportunity to attack the world's problem just like anybody else. So that's all I say for now.
Okay. Thank you. Randie or Venita, would you like to answer the first question?
Yes.
Who's going to answer?
Go
Randie
ahead,
or
Renee. The camera's on you. Let Randy catch up.
Okay.
I spent a great deal of my adolescent years with my godmother and godfather that lived in Center City, Society Hill in Philadelphia. And they were pretty cool people. Actually, they were super cool people, to be honest with you. I remember my godmother always telling me how special and great I was in every way. That's probably why my head's so big to the day. I mean, you know, I would blow a feather and she would say, "You're great." You know? But I remember her telling me that I was what I think. And I used that phrase that she told me over and over again, I guess until almost my adult years, when I was first diagnosed with lupus 7 years ago. And I remember, you know, the horrible experience, and it's a long story, but it wasn't pretty. And I remember going to the doctor, and the doctor telling me, if you take care of your mind, I'll take care of your body. And I used that phrase over and over and over again to help myself heal. I am what I think. Lupus doesn't have me, I have it. So, you know, you always have those things in life, and believe me, I don't know what I would have done without that phrase. And I remember many days just laying in bed, and, you know, you're in your own mind, and you're full of, you know, medication, and your whole life has changed on a dime without warning. Just one day, bam.
That's true.
And that's what happened to me. I mean, an active person, you know, exercise 3-4 times a week, the health club for 30 years, you know, the whole 10-yard, lots of energy, all of a sudden you're in your back, literally, for 2 years. So I would just repeat that phrase over and over to myself to help my healing. And I don't know
what's the phrase. What's the phrase?
You are what you think.
You are what you think. Okay.
If you think that lupus has gotten you instead of you have gotten it, then it will have you. So I would tell myself over and over again, this is what I have. That's all I have. You know, now I have it. So you go through this period of mourning, and I have ADD, so I can only mourn for like 24 hours, whether I'm standing or laying. You know, I accept it, and I kept it moving. And I would just tell myself that over and over again. And I tell you, you know, that's one thing. There's so many things I am her. But that one particular thing I had to pull from back here to give me strength. And it has. And it still does today. And I even tell my children that. And that's the funny thing about it. I've even told my sons that. You know, if they have a good day or if they have a bad day, you are what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you are what you eat. If you eat potato chips, you got a potato chip body. If you eat vegetables, you have a vegetable body. So, long story short, they were pretty cool, and I use it all the time to survive,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a survival tool for me.
All right.
And
Thank you.
that's what wisdom is. It's a seed that's planted, and over time it grows, and you'll notice when you have certain experiences, all of a sudden that seed that was planted, comes into play. You're able to refer to that wisdom that was given to you, years ago, and apply it, and it helps you to again keep moving.
Keep it moving, Labeeb.
That's it. Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
Okay. Randie, are you caught up? Would you like to
Yeah,
answer
I
the
am.
question? Okay.
So the part that stuck out to me in the poem was willingly burning myself to light up the darkness. So for me, that means I have a control issue. My mom says I'm type A. I'm in denial about that, but I do have maybe it's a Leo thing. I don't know.
Mm.
But to me, that means being vulnerable. I realize usually the time I touch people the most, or somebody hears me the most, or I'm understood the most, is when I stop trying to put up this perception of perfection and just be vulnerable. And for some people, that's refreshing, and that draws them in. And that never occurred to me that could actually happen until I actually had to do it. Because, in a relationship, pride can only last for so long. So that just really made me think about being prideful and letting it go, because we all gotta go someday, like she said. And when in the book she said we're not gonna remember, we're not gonna care how people remember us, something like that. She's like, you're not gonna be thinking about it.
Nobody's
People
gonna
are
remember you.
right
Mm-hmm.
when you're dead. You're not gonna be thinking about that. So that's what it made me think about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow, I love your response, Randie.
Thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead, Venita.
Randy just mentioned the word pride. It's ironic that I was looking up in the Quran, and I'm not a Muslim, however, I'm a curious person.
Uh-huh.
Just today, just before we started this meeting, it must have been about 5 o'clock, what actually pride meant in the Quran. Isn't that amazing? I'm just amazed that she brought that subject up, and I was just reading the Quran, and for some reason the word pride popped in my head today, and I was just curious, what the interpretation would be in the Quran and in the Bible.
Well, what was it?
Well, pride is frowned upon by Allah and also by God in the Bible and in the Holy Quran if it is used to put others down. Because pride is believed in the Quran, and please correct me, Labeeb, if I'm wrong.
I'm listening.
Pride is believed as from my interpretation in the Quran, that if pride is used to make another person feel less than, it is looked upon unfaithfully by Allah. As a matter of fact, it's not acceptable by Allah, because in the Quran, Allah believes that pride is also followed by arrogance.
Correct.
And
I was gonna say, Venita, that when you tie in pride, which is a sense of self-worth, but
yes.
when you tie it into arrogance, that puts you supreme, and there's only one supreme being. So if you keep pride tied to humility, then you don't debase yourself and you don't debase anyone else, but you elevate yourself and you elevate others through your humility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Labeeb, because I was about to say, in recent years, I have been feeling like, well, I know pride has a bad rep, but I think it's a matter of balance in that, like, if you think of, it used to be the young men that were walking around, with their pants down to their knees. But I'm in New York City, where we now have young women doing that same kind of thing. And it just looked nasty. It just looked like a total lack of pride.
That's right.
So where's the line? To me, it's like some balance.
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with pride. And pride is okay in the eyes of God, and as far as I understand, in the eyes of Allah. Just as long, in other words, if you polish your table and you stand back and says, well, that table looks wonderful, that's acceptable. But if you polish that table and turn around and look, at Michelle's table and says, my table is so shiny and wonderful, what's wrong with yours?
That's right.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Then that's the problem.
That's correct.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with having pride. And I think we all, have. Well, we're not going to get to that subject because that's a long subject. Anyway.
Okay. Well, thank you, Venita, for your illustration. And I think we skipped over one question that was on page 2. Can I get Labeeb? Can you read number 5?
I cannot.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the notes in front of me.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I'll read it. I'll read it. Okay. Number 5?
Yes. 5B. Thank you.
5B. Okay. She offers a useful meditation that involves you, a child, and a peach, as an example of how to inspire respect for nature and foster the seeds of environmental activism in the next generations. Do you think this is a waste of time? Why or why not?
But absolutely, it's not a waste of time. Again, we have to honor Mother Earth. It's a way in which we can show an appreciation to our Creator for our very existence, and that He provides for our needs. So absolutely, it's not a wasted charge, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. Labeeb, I meant to say to you, I have the book from the library, and they seem to have quite a few copies, which is unusual because usually, as many books as the New York City system has, they very often don't have what I'm looking for, but they have this.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, that particular scene, I don't know if you guys got to watch the video of the highlights for this chapter that I did, but I included a scene of the little girl eating a peach, as well as what I thought were very interesting pictures of the fresh fruits and vegetables, that some of them that she mentions in chapter 2. And one of the things that really made me think about, like, I put in a picture of a watermelon on the vine, and I don't think that I've ever seen that. Or the potatoes as they were in the ground. I'm sure I've never seen that. And last week we talked a bit about being disconnected, and to me this is just another way that especially us city dwellers are disconnected. Last week we were talking about how we're disconnected from the childbirth and death processes. What used to be just everyday aspects of human life that most people were exposed to. And so the focus on the food in this chapter made me think about how disconnected we are from where our food comes from. And maybe that's why some people can sit back and create genetically modified items and food-like products, and and not have us up in an uproar about that situation. So, yeah, so my mother tried to teach me gardening as a child. I wasn't interested. And as in many cases, she was right. I have lived to regret it. Um, but I definitely think it's important that we create opportunities for children to have that kind of exposure.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I, I, I love both of your comments on that. Would anyone else like to add?
Well, it made me think of my grandfather. He had a garden, and he was still gardening throughout a lot of our childhood, and he grew cucumbers and watermelons, and I got to see all of it come out the ground. I got to help, even though I didn't want to. Much like Michelle, like you said, your mom, he used to make us go out there, and I don't even know what he had us do. I just know I was tired and it was hot, but it really, I don't know. It makes me feel bad because my cousins that's here now and that's gonna come, and my kids that's gonna come, they won't have that experience, and so it really, I don't know. I don't know if it's a southern thing, but I really like being outside. I don't walk around with my shoes on, like I don't. Just something that you get from being outside and having your family really implement the importance of that. I don't know. It's really sad. So it's sad to me that they won't really get that, and I feel bad for not really realizing how wonderful it was when I was younger too. But this book, these two chapters definitely made me feel nostalgic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Randie. Well, I'm just going to chime in briefly and say that I finally have a garden and it's hot. It's tiring. And I have lost so many vegetables this year. I feel like a failure. My mom too. She tried to get me. She had a little garden up there in New Jersey, and I just like, okay, mom, but we can just go to the store and get this nice looking fruit.
Exactly.
But like what you all have been saying, I didn't understand that it's that connection with working in the earth, and then I think a lot of the activity was to also rest her mind. She got a connection with what she did when she grew up, because she grew up in the South, and she had worked on farms briefly because she said she couldn't handle it, but her grandmother had a garden. So that connecting with the past and connecting with yourself and the earth too, as Labeeb had said. So um, that's all I wanted to add to that. Venita, would you want to chime in on that?
I've always had a garden. I have a garden now. I have a 'cause I only eat like probably 90% organic foods,
All right.
and I've always had a love affair with good foods. I don't eat a lot of it, but what I do eat of it, I like it to be good. I have an organic garden now, and I have all kinds of herbs in it. I have tomatoes growing in it. I have all peppers. And I've always had it. Actually, I've had it for about, I'd say 26 years now.
Wow.
Where did you learn how to do that?
I actually taught myself. I've always been a person who loves to be close to the earth. The city offers me entertainment, but that's all it offers me. And I grew up in a city, so I always was concerned about our food. And I talk about it to people all the time, and have been for years, how you can suddenly see the change in the products in the stores. It's not even sudden at this point. Now it's just moving so quickly now with the GMOs and everything is genetically engineered, and we even have food they grow now that's not even grown in dirt anymore. So I really am into organic gardening. I go to an organic farm at least twice a week. We have quite a few real bona fide organic farms in Connecticut. Connecticut is the tree capital of the nation, and it's a big farming community. So I've always been into farming. I've always been into organic foods, and I love the feeling. When I go into my garden, which now I can only go into certain times because of lupus, I have to either be out there at 5 o'clock in the morning with all my sunscreen, big hat, you name it, or I have to go when the sun goes down. But But it's a place where I meditate. Even my family knew. My sons, I invite them in, and friends, I invite them in. When I'm by myself, they even knew it's not a time to talk to me. I only hear me at that point. You understand what I'm saying? I'm in my whole inner thing, and that's where I go for my, I don't know, it's a good feeling. It's the best cure for stress. I do most of my thinking there. I'm much more creative there. All drug free, you know.
Okay.
That's what I like about walking to the forest. You know, it gives me that kind of peace. Yeah.
You feel free. You just feel free. I don't think about anything. And instantly, when I go into my garden, any thoughts of anything, and you don't think about anything. You know, it's just like being in a mindless state, and I think it's very important for us to rest our minds sometimes, because we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't do that. Our mind is never at rest. We're thinking about this, thinking about that. What's next? What's this? What's that? And it's got to the point where that's why we all going crazy.
You're probably right.
We're all going crazy. But anyways, back at the ranch.
Okay, Venita, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's move on to key points for chapter 3, when life descends into the pit. Now, number 1, I know, Randie, you already answered that, but can I get someone to read this number 1 and then answer as they feel?
Oh, I answered.
Yeah, you did, but it was beautiful. It's okay. Look, we're just glad to see your face here tonight. All right.
So what do you want somebody to do?
Just read number 1, and then if they want to answer it, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll read it since I answered it already.
Okay, cool. Okay. That works. Thank you.
The chapter begins with a scene from Miss Walker's novel By the Light of My Father's Smile, as the ghost angels of the two main characters' sisters watch the burning of one's deceased body and all of her belongings. We are told that this is an important pagan lesson about how destructive the need to be remembered is. It also reminds her of the following poem: when life descends into the pit, I must become my own candle, willingly burning myself to light up the darkness around me. What does this poem mean to you?
It means to be reflective, I think. But in order to be reflective, you know, the author is telling us you've got to have something within, and that thing that's within, or those things that are within, that make for our character, that give us strength, are those things that are encoded in the wisdom that we receive from our elders, and that we receive from, you know, our communion, as Venita pointed out, our communion with Mother Earth. You see, that we should not just walk this earth, but we should be immersed in it. And by being immersed in it, and the standard bearers, listening to the standard bearers, listening to our elders, spending quiet time, you know, with nature, we are absorbing those key kernels of light, that then, you know, when we descend into the darkness, as you know, life is challenging. Life, as Venita had pointed out in her own personal life, you're hit with something all of a sudden that brings you low, brings you into the darkness. So you have to have that light from within that will guide you out of the darkness and back into the light. One of the things that Allah talks about in the Quran, just bring up Quran, is that He creates the darkness and He creates the light. And you know, we see this, and that there's wisdom in this, and we see this in the alternation of daylight and nighttime, and that nighttime chases day and overcomes it, and daylight chases night and overcomes it. So in life, in the cycle of life, we are going to descend into darkness, But we must understand that in that wisdom, what comes after the darkness is the light. So we have to rely upon, again, the wisdom of our elders, the wisdom that we absorb from being engaged in life around us, that creates the light within, and we employ it, we use it when we need it.
Okay.
That's it. Let me just interject, please. I'm about due to sign off, unfortunately, but because I have something at 7:30. But I'll hang on for as long as I can. All right.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Labeeb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would someone else like to answer this question? You have some thoughts about it?
I agree with Labeeb. One thing I did find when I was I thank God, thank Allah or God for lupus, because I actually saw things as they really were, not as I wished them to be. At some point, I was the curio that was looking into looking out of the cabinet instead of people looking in the cabinet at the curio. So I actually did not see the light until I was in the dark. I actually saw the world, the good, the bad, and a lot of ugly, the way it really was, which left me more equipped actually to deal with what's going on in these years following my initial diagnosis with lupus. So I would have never ever had the opportunity, if it weren't for lupus, to actually get inside my own head, to see the world as it really was, to stop and be still. You know, I was in my own mind. A person is really energetic, suddenly in their own mind for 2 years, in the bed, in the house. And I would have never had the opportunity, ever in life, if it weren't for lupus. So a lot of art came out of the illness. I know that probably sounds a little unusual for someone to say that, but I don't believe you could ever see the light or appreciate the light unless you've been in the dark.
That's so true.
So, and also good friends helped, very good friends, like my dear friend Michelle, my only friend, my best friend.
Yeah.
I'm really not saying that to suck up, although the time I have. I'm actually saying because I really believe in the bottom of my heart that I love Michelle. Michelle is my best friend, and she helped me in my darkest hours when I was going crazy.
All right.
Likewise.
Everybody needs one of those good buddies.
That's right.
I guess you know, Venita said that, and it made me think about one of the childhood questions. One of the things that I learned pretty early on was that you know, we have a lot of people that I would say are disconnected from reality and that will flip the script on you in a minute. Or last week, I mentioned that I have been surrounded by a lot of mental illness, and a part of the way that I see that manifesting is in people denying reality. And so they'll do things, they'll do ugly things, hurtful things, and then if you say, I'm hurt, their general reaction is, what are you talking about? That never happened. And so what it said to me was that I have to be very clear for myself. So I place a lot of value on staying connected to reality. And it's one of the things that I like about forums like the book group, where, we're all reading the same pages. And we may interpret them differently, but we all know that she was talking about potatoes and grapes and and peaches. You know, what I'm talking about, the type of person that would say to you, there's no mention of potatoes or grapes in that book. And, you know, and I think we're driving each other crazy with that. It's mental illness, but it's also a kind of, it's a manipulation by people that have all kinds of very sick agendas. So, so for me, what I'm saying about that short poem is that the inner light that we have to find and nurture and hold on to is our clarity, our perception of reality.
Okay.
Good point. Good point.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. Okay. I'll just go ahead and read number 2. The novel also recognizes the many pits into which life has fallen at this point. The pit of loneliness in a postmodern world. The pit of violence slowly drowning our children. The pit of fear as we realize we are trapped in our cities, towns, and streets. Men are almost always armed, and women know in our bones that we are never safe. And the first question, and really we could kind of run these two questions together. Can you relate to any of these pits, and are there others she has not mentioned?
Yes, I can relate. And the big one that I think she did not mention is the pit of poverty. And it was a glaring omission to me because that is the pit that I've fallen into. So I know it's a pit.
You and a lot of the world. Right there with you. Right there.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Okay.
I think that's a really great question, Georgette. I really like that question.
Thank you.
The pit, can you relate to the pit I can relate to is women know in their bones that we are never safe. Like when I downloaded the Kindle app because I didn't have time to buy the book and get it here, so I got the book on the Kindle app on my tablet, and I highlighted that thing so many times. I was like, oh my God, she is preaching, and though it sucks that's a pit. It's
such an elegant writer.
She is, and I've heard her speak, and so I could hear her saying that. I've heard her speak at Emory. And so that one I can definitely relate to. And other one she had not mentioned, I don't think she mentioned the pit of anger. I guess it can kind of be mirrored with violence. But I feel like anger sometimes can be its own separate thing because I'm just mad all the time. And I think that's the one that was left out of the pits. That is actually a pit. So.
Yeah. Did you say you're mad all the time?
I'm angry.
I can't tell. You don't come here mad, and I'm glad.
Have any of you ever seen Avengers? The Avengers with the superheroes?
Yeah.
They asked the Hulk how he's able to keep from transforming because he's not supposed to be able to control it, but he somehow mastered not becoming the Hulk. And he says, "I'm always angry. That's the trick." I feel like the Hulk, so I just feel like the Hulk all the time. Well, at least that part.
No, wait. Before Labeeb leaves, Labeeb, did we not have the Hulk show up here tonight?
We had the Hulk.
What? Yes. Before the meeting started, a man came on with a green face that looked like the Hulk and started talking about we don't want to see him when he gets angry.
What?
Okay, that's
right.
That's some of that insanity you were talking about, Michelle.
Yes, that wasn't you, Randie.
No.
Venita, now I feel like Venita, how crazy is that? Randie is missing in the hole.
I have no. The when y'all saw me is when I first logged in. Like I did not know.
Oh, okay. No alter egos. Okay,
No.
good.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's crazy.
So I'm sorry. You were saying anger is a pit.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out.
Okay. See you
Oh,
later.
all right.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
Take care,
Love
Labeeb.
you
We'll
all.
see you soon.
Take care.
All right.
The pit made me think of Venita's your comments about your lupus and how it brought you to the darkness, but you didn't start seeing the light until you were in the darkness. And my anger is kind of sort of the same way. Like I know a lot of my anger has a lot to do with me going to a private white school for 4 years. That was traumatizing, and just living in the constant injustice and being so close to it so soon, because I didn't realize how very sheltered I was by my community in Atlanta until I left. And my grandmother, she passed of breast cancer 2 years ago on Thanksgiving, and I was in Ghana when it happened, and I was so mad because she wasn't at one point she had the cancer and the doctor was saying that she could take chemo for a little while and it would shrink it enough for them to take it out, but she loved her hair, and she said she wasn't doing it, and so she was basically, I mean, she was going to die. We all knew it, but how it happened, when it happened, it just was obviously unexpected. And so I was angry because my grandma, we call her the prayer warrior. She's the matriarch, so her leaving has left a huge impact. But in my anger, I have never been so honest with God, being as mad as I am. I'm real honest. I got a lot of criticism. I got a lot of questions, it's forcing me to be vulnerable. Like I said earlier, it's making me really figure out what's wrong and what's wrong with me and him or her. I don't know. So when you said that, Venita, it made me think about it. So.
Wow.
I don't know. I can understand that though, Randy, because of my godmother when she passed away. I'm gonna be honest with you. To the day, there's not a day goes by that I don't still think about my godmother and godfather. But I was angry with God. I was mad, and I know I was mad because I'm looking at all these Satan-like people walking around me that are doing nothing but hurting people, belittling people, doing unjust things to people. And here you had this most fabulous person that actually was my savior. Okay? And I just could not understand.
Yeah.
There's lots of other folks to choose from.
Yeah.
I came to the conclusion that maybe, just maybe, God takes the good ones. And he leaves the rest of these folks down here to suffer. I don't know, but I had to reason with myself, and I was really angry for a very long time. I questioned God. I still question him. I question him to the day. So with time, you'll start to understand.
Yes. Well, questioning is good. It helps you analyze your life
And they said
figure
that
out where you're going to go.
One of my friends told me God wants you to question him. Like he wants you to ask questions. I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
No, you're doing good. You're right. You have to. You're growing, and every experience you have, good or bad, and how you deal with it is going to determine what kind of person you are the next moment. And then someone might come into your life, and you'll have a good word, the word that they really need to hear. And because you've been through that experience, you'll have the word that will lift them up out of the pit. So, it's bad what you're going through, but to find the bright side of it, the goodness that might come out of that destruction or that anger, those bad feelings or physical ailments, you have to find, that light in that pit and find your way out of it. So.
Definitely.
You're just so special, G.
Venita.
You over here?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, you are.
Well, I thank you, but I'm speaking from experience. Yes, I am. I've been angry in situations just like you, Randy. And I remember you mentioned before you went to an all-white school, and I
Hmm.
had wanted to ask you how you cope with that environment, because I too came from a sheltered a family, and so I hadn't been exposed to racism until after I got out of the Air Force and I went into the civil service. I was in the National Guard, and it was a rude awakening, to really experience it, and then not you're going to be angry, but not let that anger destroy what's inside you. And that was one of the things I in one of the earlier question, what did have you learned inside of you
Hmm.
internally, that inherent knowledge that takes you through. And that was one lesson that's kept me, is that if I let the anger consume me, or whatever the bad feeling is, you have to stop it. You have to cut it right there,
That's
because
right.
it's only going to affect you not only physically, mentally, and emotionally, but then you've missed your chance while you're in that moment of anger. What's wrong with these people? Why can't they see, how good I am, how what a nice person I am? They have the problem. It's not you. And so you build up a skin, but you also build up skills to deal with that next situation. So 4 years of that, baby, I take my hat off to you. 'Cause I only had to put up with it for a year and a half, and I was ready to jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are strong, young lady, and you're building the skills for what it's going to take you where you're going. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Thank you. Where'd Michelle go?
Oh, we lost her.
I'm here. I
Oh
just
my
turned off
goodness.
my camera for a minute. I'm
Oh,
listening. Ah,
okay.
bye.
Can't go nowhere. Okay, well, on that note, we'll move on to number 3. Would somebody like to read number 3?
Sure. One of the themes this novel explores is the pit sexuality has fallen into. It is a catastrophe. The most basic expression of self-love and love of others continues to be suppressed and maligned, feared, and misused. Our human sexual integrity has been stripped of physical and spiritual power because of the genital cuttings, sewings, rape, AIDS, and the fear of disease, gender abuse of all kinds, and the thorough denomination of women and girls over much of the earth.
Okay. Can
What
you read
happened?
the first question? Well, we hear you.
Oh, Michelle's not there. Okay. Do you
Uh,
agree that human sexuality has fallen into the pit?
Yes.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Yes.
Okay, you want to elaborate?
All right. Well, do you?
Don't make me laugh, girl.
Well,
Michelle, can we see your face? Can we be, graced with your presence? Thank you.
I, I felt the need for a cigarette.
Oh,
No, you did not.
No,
I
no, you
mean,
didn't.
I'd go off camera for that.
Okay.
Do I, do I, do I agree human sexuality has fallen into the pit? Absolutely. And I think it's a terrible, terrible shame. Again, um, where she talks about um, the theme in her book, the Mundo tribe, um, and the idea of wanting to kiss where others cut was, I don't know, I like that concept. But yeah, I mean, as I said before, Venita lived through the free love generation. And
I was a convent girl. I was in a convent. I don't know where you were.
I hear denial.
Yes, I'm in denial. Yes, I am. Yes, I was a part of all that. Don't talk about it, Randie.
It was a wonderful thing. I mean, I really feel sorry for young people today because that whole HIV/AIDS thing really flipped the script.
Yes.
I mean, we had some diseases back in the day, but they weren't killer diseases.
Right.
And and so I think that anybody that is being smart and self-protective and just using their good sense is being very careful these days about who they have sex with and how they have sex with them. And it doesn't mean that you can't still find some pleasure, because obviously that is still going on. But it's a very different environment. That is going to take me off into a tangent, though, because to me, what was wrong with the free love movement is that it was physical. It was about physical sex. I do think that we are capable of loving many people and are meant to have many people in our lives. I don't think they're all meant to be physical sexual relationships. But I think that as a part of our evolution as a people, we needed to go through that free love period to develop an understanding about how empty that could be. But I still think we are stuck in a place, you guys have heard me talk about how I feel about ownership, the concept of owning, your lover, your the people in your life. I still think we're stuck in that place where we're not allowing, in too many cases, we're not allowing the people that we love to get all of the love that they need to be healthy and whole, because we're so worried that it is going to be a physical love that they get, instead of the sort of abundant spiritual love that I think we need.
Well, can I make a comment on that one, please?
Okay.
Sure, Miss Free Love.
I'm just saying. It was good while it lasted. Then, later on, in the 80s, that's when you start finding spiritual stuff. Like love, connection, the beat of the mind, to get to know somebody. But it was good while it lasted. And I'm sorry, Randie.
Yes, it was.
No, it's okay.
Girl, I get the flashback. But yeah, girl. But I agree with Michelle, because if AIDS was prevalent in the 60s and particularly in the 70s, all the 50-something age group would be dead. At least 90% of us. Those people. I'm sorry, Randie. Nice people.
Those people that were not in convents.
Those people were not the convents. They be gone by now, Randie. Okay. So that's all I have to say about that. We're in 2014 now, and you have to actually, it's very wise to get to know a person, develop relationships, you know, and all the other happy stuff before you think about getting physical, period. And it really should have happened then. But as Michelle said, those people needed to go through that to make them the wonderful people that they are today, Randie.
Okay, Venita.
Look at G. And G, what
G always gets real quiet. G always gets real quiet when we talk about sex.
Oh, Georgette.
Yeah, she get all quiet like. She was born like 1987 or something. You know, 1990. Come on, Jay.
Well, okay.
Oh, here we go. Well,
I cannot say that I was fortunate enough to experience free love because I had a strict mother, and you could not come home. That was the mantra. You come home and you're pregnant, you're dead.
well, that's everybody's mantra. Everybody's mama was strict.
Yes.
But until the famous was full at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Yeah.
It was full. But everybody's mother was strict, though. Everybody had that same, you know, do as I say, not as I do, you know, the Virgin Mary and all that happy crap. You know,
yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Yeah, but you know, in New Jersey and Philadelphia, the freaks came out at 10 o'clock in the morning, not at 10 o'clock at night.
Not at night.
No, at 10 o'clock at night, you was in the bed, you was tired. Okay. Now that's not, you know, I'm not to get off the subject, Randie. This is for you, baby. I never understood the parents with the curfew thing. Curfew. I could be home by 7. I had my fun at 10 a.m., 11 o'clock. You know, you all beautiful, you know, 36, 22, 36. Anyway, back to the questions.
Okay.
Well, I want to hear from Randie. Randie, you know, what is it like for someone your age these days? What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
I think my generation, or like, well, Michelle, you know Shanice.
Yeah.
She is in my girl group. That's my Venita.
Yeah.
From school. So this is not a difficult conversation to sit through at all because we have the same ones. Anyway.
Hang with us, Randie. Hang with us. You'll learn it.
I think that has our human sexual integrity been stripped of the physical and spiritual power? Do you agree that I do think that human sexuality has fallen into a pit? I think that I don't know. I've experienced shame before dealing with sex. I have been a victim, and that's all I say. I don't want to. I feel like I've been a buzzkill tonight.
No. Big girl talk. Big girl talk.
Yeah, so I've been a victim. I've been ashamed, and I'm just so over that now. And I think that sex, physical, sensuality, intimacy, it's so beautiful. I think that when you take the shame out of it, you are protected, and you are able to consent, and it's been premeditated, and you've gotten to know someone. I really do think, and I'm young, but I'm engaged, and I've been with the same boy since I was 15. And so I had a strict mama. She went on our dates with us for the first 2 years. So we had to learn how to be intimate without sex. Because you can't, you're not having, it's not going to happen. So the first 2 years, she was with us, really. So I think that really made me understand what it is to be close to somebody without the physical, and then to finally have the physical and to not be ashamed of it. So I think, in a sense, our sexuality has fallen to a pit because people are so ashamed. You're not supposed to engage. You're not supposed to talk about sex. You're not supposed to have sex. You know, babies are here, but nobody want to talk about how babies got here. Nobody really, nobody really wants to talk about it. I'm so thankful for my mom because she was a teenage mom, and my grandmother, the one who passed, was very strict. She did not let them take abstinent classes. She did not let them do anything knowledgeable. And my mom was the baby, and so you got this 14-year-old girl who wants to know about sex, but her mom's not talking about it. And you got my dad, who's incredibly charming, and 3 years older than her. She may get pregnant, and that's what happened. And she did not want that to happen with us, and so she engaged with us in conversation very openly and honestly, not in like a friend type of way, but like, I'm gonna tell you what it is because I'm 22 and you're 8, so you gotta know you got here not too long ago. And so she was very open and honest, which has encouraged open and honesty for me and my friend groups. So I find it very difficult and very sad for people who lock up when they, it's difference between being private and not wanting to let everybody know, but people who are genuinely ashamed. And I think with shame comes violence, self-violence, projected violence, and internalized stuff that you ain't really talking about that's suppressed during sex. And so women find themselves having sex with everybody, if they, not just because it's their choice, but because they're trying to fill this void that they never really got to talk about because it was shameful. I think in that sense, that's a pit, a shame pit.
Okay.
I agree, Randie. I don't know.
I missed you so much last week, Randie.
What'd you say?
We missed you so much last week.
I hated it. I was so mad at my boss.
Oh.
I was so mad. I sent you the email, Michelle. You saw it. I was so mad. I was like, mandatory? I have to stay? It was horrible.
Yeah.
And then 8 to 7.
Thank you for the comment, Randie.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's nice that you're so open, and with us about that, with the generation gap. Because although there's a gap in our generation, we've all experienced the same things, believe it or not, just a different time. I've always been very open. With sex, and Michelle we're really into sexuality, and we're very open about that. I've always told my sons that sex is fabulous. That's why everybody does it. However, along with sex comes responsibilities. Okay? And that's how I've always put it across to them. And I'm very honest, about that. But yes, I've never told my sons, I want my sons to have good bodies, they have healthy minds. I want to feel good about sex. Sex is good. Very good. But you have to be ready and mature and be able to accept the responsibilities of sex, in order to engage in those kind of wonderful activities. But I've never made it so sex is dirty, because there's nothing bad about sex. Sex is great. Okay, anyway.
Well, I just want to say before we move on that I love, Randie, what you said about developing intimacy first before physical sex. And then, Venita, I love what you said about accepting and embracing your sexual being, because I think that is a part of the whole problem here with the dysfunctional relationships and the things we allow to happen to our young women and men. And we say nothing because we have this indoctrinated mindset that says, oh, well, they must have done something wrong to deserve it, or they weren't raised right. But what is being raised right? Accepting your body and all of its functions and basking in its glory the best way you know how, safely, without doing harm. You're an entire being. Experience that. So, yeah, we need to get out of that sexual pit. And it needs a lot of work and a lot of people coming together and opening up their minds about whatever you were told before about sex.
Right.
If it's destructive, Get rid of it.
That's
Go
right.
find your new path and enjoy yourself, even if it's just enjoying yourself, because I'm a proponent for masturbation.
All
But
right. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
well, okay, I'm probably sharing too much. In your mind. But okay, in my marriage, and I'm divorced now. No one told me because I got married young, married first person I fell in love with, and didn't understand the your mind connected to the activity. So okay, we'll just do this. But how can you can't please the other person if you don't know how to please yourself? And
Right.
so it
All
took
right
me
now.
getting divorced and then exploring my new sexual freedom
A
that
whole
taught me a
new
lot of
world,
lessons. And I'm like, dang, I wasted so much time. Oh, I
girl.
could have blown your mind. But okay,
Yeah,
let's move on.
yeah. All right now. All right. That's right. Now you want to move. That's right. Did I say, Randy, you hang around us, girl, you'll learn some stuff. You will learn some stuff, good stuff. Because we learned a lot of good stuff from you.
Yeah.
All right, Chief. Freedom.
All right.
She's on the light, Michelle. She's on the light.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm looking at the time and it's like 7:54 and we got plenty of things to read and a few more questions.
Want to stay a little while longer, everybody?
I can.
I can.
I can stay. Randy, can you stay? Okay, cool. All right. Well, if everyone's in agreement, let's hop into question B under here, under number 3. Why do you think women continue to participate in the practice of female genital mutilation despite the campaigns launched against it? And are there any Western practices that have the same result, religious, cultural, or otherwise?
That's a great question and a hard one too.
Sure is.
I think B and C are tied. Like they answer, like they're part of the answer.
Okay.
Well, I read the book Alice Walker talked about, Possessing the Secrets of Joy. It's a great, beautiful book. I read it twice, and
wow.
and a lot of at least from her interpretation of what she researched and what she put in the book, a lot of the women decided to do so to engage in female mutilation or to allow their daughters or cousins or aunties or mothers to do it because it was so male appreciated. Like it like it made you tighter, and a man likes it when you're tight. Like he doesn't want a virgin, but he wants it. It's this constant insanity of men who want the wife like person, but they want the hoe. Like tied between that, and if you stay tight, then he'll keep. They'll stay. And some women feel like if they choose to do it, at least from my perception, if you choose to do it, even though the Western world or other countries don't want it, you keep a piece of yourself, your tradition, and your culture. And nobody wants to give up their culture or compromise it because somebody thinks it's bad or somebody thinks it's wrong. And and so I think that in that sense, see how do men, fathers in particular play a part in this service is a lot of male I don't know, males are very selfish. And so when it comes to sex and female bodies, it's very selfish. And so she's a bad, unless you're looking at her for pleasure or for your own whatever, she can't really do what she wants to do unless from the male gaze it's all right or if it's wanted at that moment. And so I think we spend a lot of our time as women trying to fulfill this male gaze, and some days you catch them on a good day and they like it. Some days that they don't feel like watching it, they don't. And so it's just very confusing. And instead of having men really take into account women and just that we are humans, you just always gonna have this oppression. And these women allowing themselves, if they choose to be cut. So I don't really know how to remedy it, because a lot of men don't think it's a problem. For instance, I was about to read something to y'all. I had put a post on my Facebook page, a meme, and it was a quote. Like, they were one. I think you liked it, Michelle. It was a long time, like a month ago maybe. And this woman has said, like, why aren't men more outraged? Like, why aren't they driven to madness by the rapes and the abuse that women face? And this mentor of mine, who I recently deleted because of this comment, said the same can be asked of racism. In fact, racism is far worse than chauvinism. It affects families, not individuals. Communities, countries, cities, states have been neglected and led astray by racism. If there's no cry for justice, unfortunately, the world accepts racism. Blacks refuse to dispute it out of fear of being called racist themselves. The women's movement is a distraction from the truth and has no place amongst blacks. And this is a black man who said this to me in my comments. And so I really do think that a lot of people don't want to admit it, but there are a lot of our men who think like that. And Absolutely. So as long as they think like that, I'm not sure how we're going to be able to remedy it, because black is male and women are just for male use. So
yeah. Well, it's it's hard. I gave birth to and raised a black male, and Venita did it twice. And whatever I believed when he was born, when I was 25 years old, he taught me different. Whatever I believed about the difference between nature and nurture, because at 25 years old, I believed that I could nurture him into being a feminist. And to some extent I did. To some extent I did have an influence on him, and he is a good guy. But I was always fighting the external influences that he was also subjected to. And all children reach a certain point where they're more interested in what their peers have to say than what their parents have to say. So I think the control that we have as the mothers of male children is greatest when they are youngest. And we need to, really be strategic about using that time to give them some messages about equality. But know that we're fighting really an uphill battle. I just, in terms of what Randie said about people wanting to hold on to their culture, I just want to agree and affirm that. I not so long ago was in a conversation with a woman from the continent who was vigorously defending the practice of female genital mutilation. And there was an African American woman who had traveled a lot in Africa, and she was trying to give her, I guess, a Western perspective on it, but she wasn't getting through. The African woman was determined that we don't really understand it. And so, it's true. I would say I don't understand it, but I do understand that I would not want to have my vagina cut up. And like I said to y'all before, nobody can control me, but I can control me. That is something I would not subject myself to. I read Alice Walker's book, Randie, a long, long time ago. one of the things I included in the video highlights for this chapter are it's a picture of a knife and a razor, and those are images of the tools that are used to do the mutilation process. I saw some real pictures of what the mutilated body looked like, and I couldn't even I couldn't even look at them. I didn't include them in the video, and Leah will tell you I've got a picture of monkeys, having oral sex, and I'm not.
Oh, is that what that was?
I'm not afraid of a controversial image, but the images of the mutilated vagina are just really beyond belief. I mean, I encourage you guys to do your own Google search for it to see what I mean. So I don't know. That is another very uphill battle dealing with cultural traditions and beliefs.
Absolutely.
I just don't believe that we can make a change in other people's culture and their beliefs. What they believe is their truth. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make, we may not feel as though it's right for us, Westerners, but their beliefs is their truth. And we're not about ready to go over there and change their truth. So they have to want to change their truth within their own culture. And it will take a person or people within their culture, to show them other alternatives, like that's crazy as hell and we ain't doing this. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. So as far as we're concerned, Westerners, no, we're not going to change their truth. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't believe we can change their truth. Just like they very well come here and change our truth. And
right.
So, gee, look, Randie, Venita, Michelle, a female mutilation is the way to go. And we're going to say, okay, here we come. Know? So right. I don't know about that, really. We've tried in our country to change other people's truths all the time. And it's actually more destruction.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen in my lifetime. Instead of letting them gradually come to their own life and find their own truth.
Mm-hmm. And accept if they never do, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, not saying it's okay, but once again, it's not my truth.
Right. Right.
Yes.
So.
You're and right. Leah, who is a backseat book group member.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What did she say?
And she said, and we have to accept that if they never do, make that change, that has to be okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's their truth. It's not our truth. I mean, even within our own truth, our truths vary. So I just think in general, and I can speak for Westerners, women have to take control of themselves. I've always had control of me. But then I'm one of those rare people, what I'm saying, that just isn't control of my own body and my own self, my sexuality, and I think I'm great in every other way,
Venita, what is your opinion about rooting out misogyny as the mother of two male people?
Repeat that?
What advice do you have about rooting out misogyny in male people?
Misogyny?
Yeah, hatred of women.
Oh, well, I find that males, the first feeling or the first woman that they're ever in love with is their mother. Period. She is the alpha, she is the omega, she is the beginning, she is the end. So we have to look at the mother. I mean, all mothers aren't loving. All mothers aren't nurturing. All mothers aren't as open as maybe G and myself and Michelle are, where we teach our son tenderness, where we teach our sons that women are to be loved and respected, where they have fathers in the home that are showing respect to their mothers. You know, so that's how my sons learned. I mean, you know, my husband calls me Venita, dear, fabulous, everything. And I'm quite sure there have been times when he just wanted to choke me till I stopped breathing. But as long as that was the thought, we don't have a problem with that. I saw no twinkle in his eyes saying that he's going to carry through with it. So I'm all right. I know that I've raised my sons and even my daughter-in-law. When my son is like you, Randie, and your fiance, they've been together since they were 15 years old. I didn't really allow dating until 16 because and then there always had to be activity dating. However, I've always told, you know, my sons know better. I even told my daughter-in-law, she's not my daughter, but she's a woman. If my son Evan, he's a reasonable man. Aaron's 37 years old. He's fabulous in every way. But I can't guarantee that for some ungodly reason he might lose his mind. But if he gets a twinkle in his eye, okay, then you need to be out. You need to dial my number and then dial 911.
And that's where you have to stop it too, Venita, at the twinkle. That's important. That's important for women to understand.
I told him, no, it's not when the hand comes down. It's not when he calls you a slut or a bitch or a hoe. When he gets that twinkle in his eye. As soon as he gets that twinkle, no, I'm serious, Rand. You can laugh if you want to, girl, but I don't play like that. When he gets that twinkle, now you engaged, and like I said, you don't wait till that act actually happens. You don't wait to start calling you all kinds of nasty names and degrading you. You don't wait till that hand comes down. When that fool get a twinkle, that's you. And guess what? You are not a healer. They got Blue Cross and Blue Shield for that. Or they have maybe an exorcist for that. But that's not your job. You got to heal that fool. Your job is to get your purse and your most prized possession, if you got a child, and you're out. That's your job. So that's what I'm saying. You can have the most loving man in the world, and of course you do try to choose a loving man, and I try to raise my son to be a loving man, but I can't say that fool may not go crazy. You know what I'm saying? I can't vouch to that. But if he do get that twinkle, told my daughter-in-law, dial my number 911, you're out.
Right.
And don't return, because you are not a healer.
Right.
That's not your job to heal the fool. The fool got a problem, let somebody else heal him. You're out.
Right. Well, that is really an important point, Venita. And, you know, I just want to say, I mean, I think that the other end, you know, I talked about the influence that mothers may have on their sons, but there is also the influence that girlfriends and wives have on the men in their lives. Yeah. And really, if you tolerate that kind of mistreatment, then it allows that man to think that he can do this.
Yes. If you put up anything he's putting down, okay, then he's going to assume it's okay. Now, I heard a lot of women say, you know, contrary to popular belief, well, this and that. If you stay there, you are saying it's okay. Right. You are saying it is okay to degrade me, slap me around, and do whatever else they do. You know, you are saying it's fine. That is not your job. That is not your job at all. And I'm saying it because, Randie, you're a young woman, and like I said, I love you. Twinkle, out. Plain and simple, touchdown, twinkle. Okay? And you shall not return, all right? Because a lot of times, I hate to break it to you, those behaviors will repeat itself until he gets healed. Meanwhile, life got to go on. You're getting old by the minute, girl. You got time if somebody get healed. I don't know what people begin. Okay, you just make sure you take care of yourself, and that's why I talk to my sons. And I don't know. I would lose my mind if a woman ever told me my son disrespected them, verbally, physically, otherwise. I would just go crazy, and their father would go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not how we do it. That's not how it's done ever. I've always told my sons, no matter what's going on, you control you. Now there's some women that their men get abused. I've seen that. You know.
Yeah.
But you still, once she get a twinkle in her eye, I told my son, when she get a twinkle in her eye, you out. Okay? And one hand is, it's a half a dozen one, because there's some women out there that are male abusers, verbally and physically.
Right.
So I told them the same thing, that all women are not sane, and they can go crazy if they are sane occasionally. Your job is to control you, you're out.
Right.
So there should never be any reason for any verbal confrontation on your part or physical confrontation. You control you, either way, you're out. So whether it's her or you, yeah. So that's the lesson for the day, Randie. Twinkle in the eye, baby. Twinkle. Out. Right, G?
Excellent advice.
All right, now. Remember that. Twinkle, purse, out. Don't forget the purse, though, girl, because you got to get the good purse. Okay?
Purse.
Then you're out.
Oh, my. Okay. All right. Okay, I believe we're on number 4 now.
All right.
Okay. I'll just go ahead and read it. Although Ms. Walker gives us a sobering disclaimer that there may be nothing any of us can do about all this, we have to try. Her attempts and inspirations included sending her daughter to a non-traditional school that emphasized sharing, non-competitive behavior, and gender equality. Emulating the earth-friendly practices of indigenous peoples, such as shunning all forms of exploitation and monetary gain, is a good start. Like the Mundo tribe of her novel, we should treasure our relatedness to the earth, our own rituals, ceremonies, and ways that preserve the planet and do no harm. Each of us has this inherent knowledge of how to live life differently. We must find it within ourselves and then put it to use.
Mm-hmm.
And then the question is, what is your inborn knowledge of how to live life differently? And have you thought about what it would take to change?
Mm-hmm. In fact, I was just saying to Venita that what I have really wanted career-wise is to be a part of, well, I think I said kick-ass, but a really strong group of Black people who could compete effectively in this very competitive world that we have, but who could work together in a way that did not allow our egos or our insecurities or whatever issues it is we're having to crush the spirits and creativity and productivity of other members of the team. As Venita was saying last night or today, none of us knows everything. And we really have to understand that, and understand that while we don't know everything, we do have the capacity to come together as teams, but then we have to value the individual bases of knowledge and skills that people have. But I tell you, I've had a very, very difficult time over the last decade in particular, finding that kind of work environment. And it hurts me. It's sad to say. I'm really talking about Black people. I have had that kind of work environment with white people. But I understand that, as Black people, we got a lot of issues. Mm. And I am probably more patient and understanding about that than the average bear. But even still, I can't work in an environment where I feel like my spirit is being crushed. And so I think that kind of knowledge of how to work with people in a non-competitive way. You know, like I think even I said to Venita, I think one thing I love about our book group is somehow we have attracted a group of people who are not afraid sharing their wisdom and insight, but also know how to listen and let other people have space in the group. That's pretty special.
There is.
You know, because I'm not seeing that out there on a regular basis in the world. And so I said to her, I think, you know, what the universe is trying to tell me is I have to create that team that I have been looking for because I don't see it anywhere else. And, you know, and I think that is just a part of my inborn consciousness. I've always been very concerned about leadership issues in the Black community. In fact, I may set up another book group just to focus on that topic because there's a lot there. So.
Absolutely. Yes, Michelle, you brought up a very sticky subject there, how Black people work together and the lack thereof.
Yeah. Yeah.
That takes a whole nother session, or 2 or 3 or 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's G. Sometimes I feel like I'm from another planet because I can't find, it's very seldom I ever find, which I found a couple of times in my entire life, a person that sees the world as I see it, where I don't know everything. Okay? I'm okay and you're okay. I can't grow unless we share information. I need to know what G knows. I need to know what Randie knows. You understand? And it's such a self-righteous world. You know, let's bring us back to that pride. My table is shinier than yours. Okay? You never asked me one time, you know, or never suggested to that person's table is not shiny, how they can make it shine like yours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we do have a special group of people, and I really enjoy it immensely because we do respect each other. We do know that we don't know everything. And as soon as you recognize that, you can open yourself up to a whole new world. And I only know this much. And compared to everything, as I told Michelle, I use an analogy today. If you take what you know and hold it up with your 2 fingers and you drop it, it's so little that it dissipates before it even hits the ground. That's how little each individual person knows. You know, you can't even measure how little you actually know. So, and I find with our people, I don't know what happened. And you would think that we would respect.
We're needy. You know, we've been hurt.
Yeah, but
we're needy.
Yeah, but you know, Michelle, I'm not good with needy people. I'm gonna be honest with you, Randie and G. You know, I'm not good with all. You know, really. If you got a situation, you know, state this situation. Let's try to find a way to resolve the issue. If it can be resolved, let's keep it moving. But I can't do the needy thing. I can't do the feel sorry for the thing, the self-righteous thing, the Jesus complex thing, and all that stuff. And the twinkle in the eye. That's just not my bag.
All right.
You know what I'm saying, Jay?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
You know, so Michelle's right. Everybody's too needy. They got too needy this, needy. You know, really. We got too much work to do. Put your needs to the side for a minute. All right. If you had dinner last night, you got a roof over your head. You don't need nothing anyway. All right. So let's just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's difficult. But you know, I am enjoying us, and hopefully we'll be able to do more. Right, Michelle?
Yep.
I'm looking forward. I really am. I'm really looking forward to making a change, at least that much of a change. You know, it'll be a good thing. Are you with us, Randie? You hungry, girl? You tired?
I'm tired, but I'm here. I'm just listening.
Okay. Well, did you have something to add to that question, or?
Yes.
Okay.
What is your well, I was gonna say when I got this, and that's why I love Black Women's Blueprint, even though I haven't been able to be there. But my inborn knowledge of how to live life differently as a new 22-year-old is just to speak. And I know I've mentioned that in this forum before. I really, really, really believe in truth telling and opening up your mouth, and I think that's one of the best ways to get rid of shame. One of the best ways to admit a problem. You gotta open up and say something. So I think that if people really start telling one another, like Michelle said, black people are hurting. If black people actually said, I am hurting, instead of keep it in the house, what stays the house goes on in the house, like all that type of stuff, or feeling like you got to be strong, like black women tend to do, and men can't cry, black men can't cry. If we really honestly say, I am so sad, and I am unhappy, and I am hurting, I think that would change so much. But a lot of people are afraid to do it, and growth is not easy. Growth is lonely because everybody's not going to want to do it, and everybody don't grow at the same time, and so people tend to lose people when they start growing, and nobody wants to lose anybody. And people don't know that when you come out of that growth, you meet other people, but it's a painful process sometimes, and everybody don't want to be in pain if you are already hurting. So I understand, but I still believe that speaking is has been something I've just learned that has helped me live differently.
Absolutely.
That's excellent.
It's okay to lose people, Randie. Yeah, it's okay. I call it cleaning out my closet. It's okay, and they're okay too. Not saying they're not.
Right.
But their useful life in your life is up. That's how I see it. Sometimes it's just time. Really, you can't nurture and try to analyze everyone.
Right.
Sometimes people just grow and we go this way and they go that way. They're still okay. Everybody's okay. But it's just time for you to move on.
Yeah.
So I do believe that, I usually do that yearly. I make a list. And I know it sounds sad, but I do every year.
No
time to clean out.
Me, Michelle.
You're organized.
How many times we talk about Michelle? I clean up the house every year. I go through the list of people. And
some people have a Christmas list.
Yeah. And people make, they go through the New Year's resolutions. I go through a list for New Year's of people, Do you elevate me? You know what I'm saying? Do you make me feel good? Do I get warm and fuzzy feelings when I see your face, hear your voice, or whatever the case may be? Do you bring anything interesting? Have I learned anything from you? That's all. So by the time I get done, Randie, I start with 30 people. Girl, I got a half a man on there. That's why I got a half a person left. Year never failed, girl. The 50-something years I've been here, I ain't got enough people to add to a whole person. You know what I'm saying? So that's the truth. And I always got my one friend over here, and she's on the list. She just over there, cause that I know I got her over here. That's why I go down that list. I said, okay, half a person left. Okay, Michelle, you in, girl. So yeah, it's okay, Randie, to sometimes clean out your closet. You need to evaluate that to me on a regular basis. I do it once a year, but you 22, you need to do it every 3 months at least.
I do. And people do it on their own. I do. I really do.
Oh, you got some drop-offs, but you got some you may have to, give an incentive to drop off. Generally, but you got to give an incentive to drop off, because some people don't know when to drop off. You got to, just give a gentle nudge, like it's time for you to go now. But that's why we got Miss G over here, because come on, Miss G, me say now, Venita.
Okay. Now. Thank you for your excellent advice. You need to be counseling.
Come on, G, tell me now, because you are state. I love Miss G. She keeps us like this, because we go crazy sometimes. And Miss G will just bring us right back down. That's why I love you. I really do. I've grown so fond of you because you were just a equalizer.
Oh, Thank you, Venita. You brought color and laughter into my life here. Absolutely. I love you too.
Oh, isn't that so sweet? I just love my book people. So,
oh my goodness.
It's my happy place.
Okay, good.
We about done. Are we about done? You know, we get off in this whole thing. Did you learn something
Yes,
tonight,
we
Randie?
do.
You have
I
something
did.
to to your friends?
I did. Oh, speaking of, I'll be in Brooklyn this weekend, Michelle.
Oh, you will? Well, be sure to call me.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
All right.
I will be there this weekend.
All right.
So we almost done, or where are we?
Well, we've got we're on 6, so we have like 4 more points and 2 questions. So can I get somebody to read 6 through 8?
I'll read 6, 7, and 8.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I excuse myself for 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Uh-oh. I was trying to make my screen bigger, and I went too big. Okay. We should free ourselves from the chains of patriarchal religions, such as puritanical Christianity, that continue to cause dysfunction in the father-daughter, male-female, and self relationships. Sexuality is not evil, but a mystery, a blessing, and a wise teacher of self. 1 second. Point number 7. Teachings of all traditions are available to us from other cultures that embody wise understandings of life passed on by earlier generations. The message of Wilma Mankiller, chief of the Cherokee Nation from the Onondaga states, "Take care how you place your moccasins upon the earth. Step with care, for the faces of the future generations are looking up from the earth, waiting their turn for life." Point number 8. A Native American saying goes as follows: relative, shift your teepee. Mother Earth needs sunlight. Our heavy footprint is on the earth in the form of more homes and buildings than anyone can ever live in and enjoy. There is also the pressure of things, possessions that feed our hunger but starve the earth. Question. Ms. Walker admits that having grown up the child of very poor tenant farmers who never owned a permanent home caused an intense house hunger in her that she fed by owning several homes later in life. What is your hunger, and how are you feeding it?
Question?
Yep. Ooh, good question, Georgette. Georgette, I think you have been jipping us on your wisdom tonight. I think you should answer that question first.
Oh my God. Well, you know, when I read this chapter and the chapter before, a lot of the things that Ms. Walker said, I had to reread them because I wasn't sure, you know, if I understood which way she was going with what she was saying. In the undercurrent, because she uses certain terminology that resonates with me, and the other things that, you know, I'm interested in everything. I look at and read everything because I'm interested in finding the truth as much as I can. And I know that a lot of the things we read and what we've been told are really someone else's agenda to control us for whatever reason. So her lifting up of, you know, the importance of the earth, and she doesn't exactly say it, but as an entity, as a being, and I'm not sure, you know, whether or not she, I know she had mentioned in some interview I read that she was believed in some type of Buddhist meditations,
Yes.
but you can't really pin her down, which I think is good because religion in its various forms is really another control mechanism.
Yes.
And I think you have to be spiritual, and you have to find your connection to yourself and the other beings on this earth, whether they're human or animal, or, okay, insect if you want to go that far. I haven't gone that far because the insects are busy eating my garden, so I'm not
Yes.
at that point yet.
There's a reason they call them bugs.
Yes. So she caused me to really reflect and try to put connect the dots to a lot of the things that I have been reading and watching. Some of the stuff I take in and I'll absorb it, and other stuff I'm not. Whether it's true or not, I'm not ready for it at this point in time because it doesn't fit in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But
so are you saying you have a hunger for knowledge, a certain kind of knowledge?
Yeah, I want to know what our purpose is here. We can't have just been an accident. Each one of us has a purpose, and I'm kind of going over to the reincarnation thing because I really don't believe death is the end. It can't possibly be, because you have evidence of spirits of loved ones or whoever visiting live, their relatives. So that's not the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there has to be something more. And so that's my hunger is knowledge, and trying to find the truth of, what are we? Are we light beings here encased in a physical shell? We're here to, or as some people way off on the left end are saying, we're the slave race of the gods. So I'm absorbing all of this information and trying to find, pick through it and find what my truth is. Harkening back to what Venita said, you have to find your own truth and what makes sense to you and helps you through this journey, because it is a journey. And however it ends for you, if it ends, with this physical death, or if it carries on past that, you have to figure that out and hopefully learn something on the way. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I'm feeding my hunger for knowledge. Hmm.
Thank you.
What about you,
I'm laughing because Leah, who our backseat member, is talking over here talking about, what about you, Michelle? I don't know. That is a really hard question, and it just came to me to say that my hunger is for peace in my life, and because I've had a lot of things. Um, I mean, I basically was born into a world where I literally had a silver spoon. And so I grew up with so much stuff. And I went through an experience a few years ago where I lost basically everything. Um, and so, as she's in this chapter talking about the need to let go of possessions and all of that. Not that I was ever really a material person. I was just born into it. Um, but what I have really always wanted personally is peace. And I guess I would say I feed it You know, kind of like Venita. I mean, I don't have a list and I'm checking it twice, and you know, I'm kicking you off at the end of the year.
Ow.
You know, I don't do that, but I have let go of a lot of people in recent years that were disturbing my peace, and so I think that I'm feeding that need in myself by clearing the space around me of people that disturb the peace.
Hmm. Well, that sounds like a worthwhile activity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Necessary.
Indeed.
That's a good question. I guess my answer would be pretty simple. I've always just had this thing where I've always felt like, and I've discussed it with Michelle, I've discussed so many things with Michelle, that I don't know, I used to think that maybe the people around me didn't understand me or allow me to be me, and maybe they were in the wrong space. But I feel sometimes maybe I was in the wrong space. I think my main hunger in life has always been just to be me, just to live in my truth, just to respect other people's truth, you know. And once you are able, and I'm able to do that, then I'm able to give so much more, you know. But unfortunately, and I should say unfortunately, and not so much as now, because I'm a new girl, but for many years I allowed other people to dictate my truth, to siphon me being me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, all that quest to be uh, to have the people around me feel good about me.
You know, I remember years ago, before I had turned 40, watching an episode of Oprah and Camille Cosby talking about, they said that something happens to you between the ages of 40 and 42 where you become crystal clear about who you are and who you're meant to be, and you stop being fettered by, you know, all of that that holds you back. And I was so looking forward to turning 40 for that reason. It didn't really happen for me at 40. That's about the time I started having health problems, and that was another thing. But it hit me around 50. And it is such a good feeling to just know who you are, and you know what you will and will not do.
Yeah.
Um, and to not be held back by people that, as you said, just don't understand you.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you know, that's what's so good about it. It's because I don't care if you
Right.
understand me. I'm not trying to make you understand me. I'm not trying to analyze you. If you're not loving me, that's your issue. You need to go see somebody. Let's go back to the Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Really. I still lay down. I'm still feeling good. I'm going to be me. You know, and as I was telling Randie, if I have to move you or a mountain to be me, then you shall be moved.
Mm.
And so shall that mountain. So
Yeah.
that's the good news about being 50 and over, is that I just don't care. You know what I'm saying? I really
Yeah.
do not care. And it's not even open for discussion. I don't even want to know your opinion about how you feel about
It's none of my business. Right.
Go tell somebody that's interested. I mean, really. So, you know, that's the good news. Whereas before it's like, how does this person feel? Or I gotta be this neutral and this that. Yes mean yes and no. definitely means no.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not almost no gray areas. It's just no. And guess what? When you're younger, you have all this big explanation, all this colorful stuff that comes behind it, and now. When I say no, I don't expect to see you standing there anymore because there is no colorful explanation. I'm not trying to find one. If I have one, you're still not getting it. The answer is no. With a smile, no.
Right.
Write this down, girl. Write all this down. Take notes. You have a lot to look forward to, and you're moving. You're moving
are we moving on tonight?
Okay. Well, Randie, did you want to answer that question, or you have something to say?
Well, all of mine was, Michelle said one piece. They all, I'm gonna say all three, but then they all come down to one thing. So it's peace. I think that was when you were talking. I was saying joy, understanding, and so that comes into being comfortable. I really like. I hunger for being comfortable, and I feel like I have so much resentment towards people who are like, get out of your comfort zone. But as a Black woman, I am always uncomfortable. I am always uncomfortable. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a space and a haven where you are just comfortable and you have bliss, grace, and all those beautiful, deep things. You can still, experience complexities and still be comfortable. And so how do I feed that hunger? I just stay around people who bring me peace, who bring me joy, who make me comfortable. I don't have to act like Venita. You don't have to be who you aren't. I don't have to guess about what you're thinking. It's just, you don't really get that everywhere else. You just don't. And we all know that. I really hunger for comfort, for being safe, for feeling safe, sure where I'm at.
Cool.
Well, you're safe with us, Randie.
Yes.
I miss y'all.
You're safe. You can always come here. That's right. Well, yeah, that's the comfort I feel with my best friend. I mean, Michelle and I've been friends for something too long time. And that's my comfort zone. I mean, I'm who I am, and she's who she is, and we call it like we see it, and see it like we call it, and everything is okay.
Let's do the last question because I'm getting tired now.
Okay.
That's that 50-something coming down.
Okay. All right. I'll read it. Ms. Walker suggests some ways to help make a space for one of those faces coming up through the grass. First, make peace with your mortality and the irrelevance of being remembered. Contemplate giving away possessions and practice giving away yourself. Support students, artists, and seekers of knowledge, young and old. Keep track of your family members, enjoy them in the present, and plan with them for the future. Practice deep meditation. Recognize the illusion of separateness. When someone thanks you, you thank them, realizing it is only their acceptance of your gift that allows you to give. And the question for that is, would you be able to sit with the thought of erasing yourself so that others might more gracefully arrive? And what does that mean to you?
Yeah, that's kind of the one I touched on earlier when I talked about having lost a lot of stuff. But in terms of would I be comfortable sitting and erasing myself so that others can enter more gracefully? I think that that's what I do. I think that that is who I am. I think that that is what I meant by we have this space here in the book group where where everybody can have a piece of the space, because I really do believe that life is a puzzle, and that we all have a piece of it. And until we learn how to fit those pieces together, we're never going to have the kind of healthy, whole world that, some of us imagine we can have. And so that really is, for me, I think who I have been throughout my career. And that's why I was saying it's been hard for me to find spaces where the leadership really understands that. I'm an intelligent person. I'm a well-educated person. But that certainly doesn't mean that I know everything. And I have been turned off. My master's, I have a master's in public administration. And one of the things that attracted me to that discipline was that I think there's so many great ideas in the world about how to make life better, how to gain freedom, justice, and equality for Black people. Or there are all these wonderful, lofty ideas, but we always seem to fall down on the implementation side. And so I really have been trying to understand in my life, what is it that goes wrong? Is it just that implementation, the nitty-gritty of doing the work, of taking an idea and creating a plan out of it and working the plan? Is it that is just not sexy work and therefore no one wants to do it? But one of the big things that I think, and again I have to go back to the mental illness issue, is that it's not that we don't have the ideas. It's not that we don't know how to do the work. But if we are mentally ill, as so many of our leaders, actually are, and I'm talking about illnesses like narcissism, in particular. That really stop us from being able to have healthy, functioning, productive teams. And so we're stuck because I studied public administration. I didn't study psychology. And what I would say about that is there ain't enough psychologists on the planet to actually address the breadth of this problem. But it's bad. It's really bad. So, that's me.
Okay. Well, you're so right. You really articulated a problem I couldn't really put my finger on either. We've got the tools, got the know-how, start off great, and then what happens? Why can't we get past a certain point?
Right.
Oh, Michelle.
Right, because it becomes all of this me stuff. I mean, you saw it in Mike Brown's funeral. You've got all of these. It was just a star-studded event. But where will those people be for that family tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're so busy beating our chests and trying to get the accolades that we didn't get in the dysfunctional families we were raised in. And and we're that's why I say we're needy. We're needy.
It's so sad. It's just absolutely sad. I look at just your own families and looking at the funeral of this child, and the same way, folks, they're showing up from near and far. You don't even know these folks, And later on, no one's there. And that's because, Michelle, like you said, people are just needy for attention.
Right.
You know, they get it any way they can. But unfortunately, they stop other people in the process.
Right.
Which brings us back to let yes mean yes and no mean no. Because what it does is take away the actual message. Now, I don't know what the message is. You know. I mean, you had Ayanna there.
Right?
Yeah, when they said 4,000 people, I was like, are there that many people in Ferguson?
Right.
Oh.
That's a lot of folks.
Their own agenda. Look at me. My face is here. This and that. Nobody cares. The woman's child is dead. Last I checked.
Yes.
You know. So yeah, it's just everything is just make believe. We live in a make believe world with make believe people that live in some kind of fantasy land, and they're all narcissistic, which is a huge personality disorder. I know because I'm a product of a child of one. And they're quite scary people. Very, very. They're not even like from this planet. They're like from somewhere else. And it really is pretty sad. But the narcissism is getting worse and worse by the day. Really. It's really getting bad. And I don't know what's in the GMOs in our food, or whether it's the water or the environment or what it is, or Satan, but it's getting real bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And worse, and not even because, and I used to try to dismiss it as maybe because the population of people have grown here. No, the narcissism has grown faster than the population of people, relatively speaking. So it's not even that. I don't know what it is, girl. I have no idea. I wish somebody tell me, Randie or G.
I do too.
I don't know.
Anyway, Michelle needs to go to bed.
Okay. Oh my. Yeah, we're at 8:53. Well, it was a wonderful discussion. I love the way you ladies think. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the way you think. And Randie, take those notes, girl. Take those notes.
I am. We got these videos for life now. Michelle put these videos out. I said you keep track of these videos so we can always go back and watch them.
Yes.
Yes, she does, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and you guys help share the videos. When I post them, share them.
I never think about that. I should.
Okay.
There's no reason why we don't share them, actually, except I'm just no good, Michelle. No good.
What?
I don't know why I'm not sharing them. I'm just no good.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I share everything else you put. I don't know why I don't share them.
Yeah.
Okay, now this sounds like a challenge, a video sharing challenge that has come up.
Yes.
Between now and the next time we meet, you have to share at least one video that Michelle has posted.
Right. That's
okay,
right.
that's the challenge.
It doesn't matter where you share it.
If you have not subscribed to us on YouTube, you can search for the National Black Feminist Book Group on YouTube, find our channel, and all of the videos that have been produced are there. So you don't even have to wait for me to post something. You can go to YouTube and make your own selection.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night, ladies.
Bye, Randie.
Have a good one.
Bye,
Venita.
Bye-bye.
Those were
Bye-bye.
questions.
Bye. Bye, Michelle.
Okay. Bye-bye.